All right. Here's the deal. I have a very unique job, and it gives me a unique perspective. And I really like sharing it with whoever will listen to me. And the interesting thing is I've been discovering that the stuff I know actually applies to other people in other places doing other things. And so that's why I'm glad to be here with you guys. If it's cool with you, what I'll do is I'll just spend some time talking to you about my job. And then I'm going to give you advice. Because really, I'm 40, so I'm supposed to start doing that stuff now. I think you should do this. Another thing that's important is this. So here's how it goes. Whenever I meet somebody for the first time, the question inevitably comes up, what do you do for a living? Well, that's it right there. I used to have a rehearsed answer. Can I give you guys that rehearsed answer? Yes. All right. Just a second. At the IWK Health Center in Halifax, Nova Scotia, we have a department called the Child Life Team. Now, Child Life are in most pediatric centers in Canada, in fact, around North America and the world. And they help kids cope with the stress of illness and hospital experiences. They do this through developmentally appropriate language, through play opportunities, and by giving them coping strategies while they're in the hospital. As part of the Child Life team, there's music therapists, play specialists, and also a therapeutic clown. I'm the therapeutic clown, the only professional one in Atlantic Canada. I've been there for about 9.5 years. I have a background in social work, and I really enjoy my job. Imagine saying that 20 times at a party. Thanks a lot. So I've stopped doing that. Now when people ask me what I do, I just look at them and say, I'm a clown. And I watch them cope with it. It's way easier and way more entertaining. Now the interesting thing is my wife, who I can talk about because she's not here, oh no, you're not videotaping this, are you? It won't be broadcast anywhere ever, will it? No, I don't believe him for a second. Never trust the tech department. My first piece of advice. No, if my wife hears me just going, I'm a clown, she jumps in and she's like, well, actually, he has a master's degree and he works in child life, and so she just fills in the blanks for me. But listen, can I really tell you guys the truth? That's it right there. For almost 10 years, I've been wearing a clown suit in a hospital playing with children. That's the job. I'd like to describe it a little bit more to you, because I think there are some things that I've discovered that other people like to know. And I think it applies to you as you're making connections, as you're getting information, as you're drawing conclusions, and as you're planning your lives. So here it goes. Every morning, I show up looking kind of like this. Without the jacket, I put that on for you guys. Yeah, no sweat. It's like, they're future leaders, professionals of tomorrow. I need to look good. I'd hoped to get a haircut. It didn't happen. But anyway, I show up as Cleve, and I meet with my team. And we go through the census list of the kids that are in the hospital. They say, okay, well, in this room we have such and such. Here's what they're here for. Here are some of the challenges. Here are their goals. Here's how long they're going to be here. And my team will make referrals to me based upon a professional assessment. It could have something to do with, well, this kid is having trouble coping with the experience of being in the hospital. It could be they're a certain age and my team members think that they'll just really be into the clown. It could be that there's some siblings around who have a lot of energy and need to find an outlet for that. There's 127,050 billion reasons why they might refer a kid to a clown. So I nod and I smile and I put little check marks beside those names, and then I kind of ignore it. Because by about 10:30, I've put on the outfit. And in case you forgot, that's it right there. a little painted on dot, blue eyebrows, and a traditional Barnum and Bailey's circus costume. And I head out on the units. My character, Buddington, is a shy, awkward, 6-foot-tall, 200-pound idiot. He's really out of place in the hospital. He doesn't belong. He's this ridiculous thing coming down the hall, right? And the cool thing I've discovered is just by making a little change to a hospital environment, by adding a clown to it, all of a sudden things change, right? I want to tell you about what might happen if I do a room visit, because I see kids in rooms, in the hallways, in the playrooms, in the elevators, in the common areas, in the clinics. I don't break character. Buddington is Buddington. He's a consistent. He's constant. He is who he is all the time, right? The staff initially thought that was really weird. Now they think it's weird if I ever do break character, because they get it. Nobody wants to see Santa Claus putting his feet up on the desk talking about taxes. The clown is the clown. He is a real, living, breathing character in the hospital. And guess what? He's not a lie. He's me. He's that goofy, free part of me, right? And I also draw on my own awkwardness, my own shyness, my own uncomfortableness with situations. It's those pieces of me that are the clown. And he does live at the hospital. He doesn't go anywhere else. So I'll walk down the hallways with my little list of patients to see that I'm almost ignoring, and I'll try and make eye contact in patient rooms. Because those are the referrals that I really want. I want kids to self-refer. Because if I make eye contact and there looks like there's an opportunity, I'm going to try. So that's the first thing I want to tell you, is you're going to find opportunity in places that nobody planned for you. So let's say I decide to go in a particular room. I'll knock on the door and I'll say, "Can I please come in, please?" And if they say no, I'll go, "Okay, thanks," and I'll go away. Now, this is interesting. Initially, parents and staff would apologize to me for that. They say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought he'd love you. He just loves clowns, and he had one at his birthday party. I thought he would want you in the room. I'm so sorry. You sure you don't want him to come in your room?" I'm like, no, this is great. Because guess what? They told me to scram, and I listened. I'm the first person who's shown up at their door who they've been able to tell what to do and who has listened to them. Because here's the truth about kids in a hospital. They're there with the best, brightest, most conscientious professionals doing everything possible on their behalf. Here's the second thing that's true about kids in hospitals, is that they have no power and control. "Hello, dear, I need to come in to do your blood work." They're in there. "We need to come in to examine you." Somebody with 5 medical students is now going to come in and talk over your head for the next 20 minutes, and you can't do anything about it. So the best possible outcome is if a kid tells me to go away, and I scram. Right away, it's something different. They have the power and the control in that relationship. And power and control is a huge deal. It's been said that, I'm going to tell you a little bit later on about one of the founders of clowning in hospitals. He started in the mid-'80s. His name is Michael Christensen. And he tells a story about when he first started clowning in the hospital, in the intensive care units. And he says that a physician came up to him and said, "Clowns don't belong in hospitals." He looked back at him and said, "Neither do kids." So this out-of-place, 200-pound, 6-foot-tall idiot is going to listen to me. That's really cool. And I'll come back tomorrow, and I'll let you kick me out then. I'll come back the next day. I'll let you tell me to scram the next day. I'll do it for 5 weeks in a row if you're here that long. And maybe someday you'll let me in. If you do let me in, quickly you'll figure out that I need a lot of help. I'll walk in the room. I'll probably get my foot stuck in a garbage can. I won't know how to work the automatic sink. I'll dry my hands on the curtains, and Like I said, I don't have a clue. The kids figure out that the only way I'm going to get through this is if they help me. So that's the second tool of a therapeutic clown, is we give power and control to the child. And listen, the whole point of this is to build a relationship. Anybody who knows anything about helping knows that the tools and strategies you use are this much of what helps, and the relationship is this much. That's an official statistic. Tools this much, relationship this much. And the clown is just a shortcut to building that relationship and that rapport. So I might do a room visit. Did I put my bag over there? I was just running in here at the last minute. Is it over there? Cool, thanks. But other visits also happen. Thanks a lot. Some of them happen in a hallway. So I just want to talk you through this, and then I'm going to make all of this relevant to your lives, okay? And you'll leave here going, oh, that was relevant to our lives. I'm glad I stuck with them through that. Okay, just a second here. I'm going to dig something out that really matters right now. So let's say on one fine Thursday afternoon, instead of talking to learners who are going to be future leaders, instead the clown is walking down the hallway. Well, something's going to happen as he walks down the hallway. He's bound to run into some kids. And usually kids in a hospital are with their adults. I'm giving the rest of the talk to you. This is I'm digging. Oh man, yeah. Okay, guys. All right. As wildly intelligent future leaders of this universe, as the clown spots the daughter and the father, what can you tell me about the daughter? Okay, all right, okay, past the fact that she's drawn really badly. Okay, I was hearing some things that were essentially like she's smiling. There's possibility there, isn't there? Yeah. What about dad? Yeah, anger, stress, yeah, pretty much, huh? That is so typical of kids and grown-ups. Let's not judge Papa poorly drawn over there. Because, listen, he didn't have time for breakfast, let alone a cup of coffee. They've driven in from New Brunswick since early in the morning, found a parking meter. He's certain that he's going to have a ticket or be towed. They got lost several times on the way to the hospital and inside the hospital as their day's gone on. They're late for their next appointment. The hospital environment, just like any environment, like a university, any institutional environment, actually a hospital is way worse. Yeah, it's overwhelming, right? Plus, the jargon, the stuff that is being said to and around and about you and your child can be really overwhelming as well. This dad is feeling things that no parent ever wants to feel. Uncertainty. In this circumstance, he feels inadequate and he has no control. So we don't blame him, do we? He's feeling that way. That's okay. Some people have clown prejudices to be in. Oh, anybody freaked out by clowns? Yeah, okay. Yeah. There's no shame in that. Yeah. We're cool though, right? We're good. Yeah, trust me, this is as weird as I get. It's cool. Yeah. Clowns are unpredictable, right? And here you are already feeling out of control and you see the clown. So we don't blame dad for not wanting to engage, but look at the daughter there. and time's running out. They're walking down the hallway. Two choices. Try or don't try? Well, yeah, let's try. That's the other thing that I've learned being a clown for 9.5 years. Never don't try. Always try. Or never don't not try. So I want to tell you how a hallway interaction that looks like this will go, okay? First thing, I'm going to go this way so they're cool. Let's go over here. All right. So already things are different, right? I was spending all that time up on the stage, power and control is coming down to you like this. Now things will get really interesting. Sorry, I put my back to you guys for a second here, but what happens if I do this? Most people can't see me. So for a presentation, this is really a poor choice, right? Yeah. What's that?
You're at the same level as the kid.
Oh, yeah. Good. Thank you so much, my friend. There's always a power differential from physicality, right? And listen, don't let anybody tell you any different. The world is all about power, right? And power is a remarkably powerful tool. And the way that the clown has the most power is by giving away his power, right? So I sit down. And I actually think we're really cool to come over here for a second. Yeah. Thanks. So the next thing I do in healthcare talk is called an externally directed low-pressure offer. In regular talk, it just means I get low down and I don't look at the child. I blow bubbles. Don't squeeze too hard. There you go. And blow. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. That gives the kid the choice. They see the bubbles. That's it. We're hanging out all afternoon. I don't care. They see the bubbles, and the child decides whether or not they want to come towards the bubbles. Here's a little shorthand. Later on, I'm going to be talking to a bunch of social work students who are taking a child welfare class, and they're going to want to know how to interact with kids. Rule number 1, stop asking questions. Imagine if you went to a party and somebody said, "Hello, what's your name?" "I'm Cleve." "Oh, good. Do you go to school?" "Yeah, I go to university." "Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Do you like your professors?" "What are you going to do when you get a little bit bigger?" "I don't know." "Do you have brothers and sisters?" "Yeah." "Oh, guess what? How old are you?" 23. "I know another 23-year-old over here. You guys are going to get along. Why don't you play together?" Right? That's the deal. Grown-ups to kids, right? So kids, when they see a grown-up wearing a clown suit, sitting down and not putting that pressure on them, it's the invitation, right? You don't have to ask questions. In fact, you often don't have to say anything. Because the power of not saying anything is that you're paying attention. I know very little about the business world by choice, because I don't think I'd be very good at it. But what thanks for disagreeing with that. I saw you go, maybe he would be.
You're honest.
Yeah, thanks. But what I do know is paying attention really matters. Paying attention to the circumstance, paying attention to the atmosphere, paying attention to the dynamic, paying attention to the needs, paying attention to the customers, paying attention to the structure, paying attention to the goals, paying attention to the room. More than what I'm saying right now, paying attention to you guys in this room matters. So the clown pays attention by not saying anything. I'm not watching the child except out of the corner of my eye. Let's say the kid starts walking towards the bubbles going, yeah, that's because that's how they do it. As the kid is breathing in anticipation, I can tell you something that Dad might be doing. Because Dad's been holding his breath for the last 3 hours, right? He's been like this. Gotta get through it. I'm strong. I'm a man. Yeah. Well, Dad gets to go. And that's a big part of being a clown in a hospital, is giving kids a chance to play and families a chance to breathe out. Because his daughter is not a diagnosis. His daughter is not a medical mystery. His daughter is not something that needs to be fixed, repaired, removed, or treated with a medication. His daughter is a kid. That stuff exists. But maybe for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, bless you. I always tell my wife, if you're going to sneeze, commit. I let it go. Yeah. Oh man, that was a manly sneeze. Sometimes that's the only way men let out emotions too. It's like, where was I? Talk over. You can't recover from that. It gives Dad a chance to breathe out. If the dad sees the daughter walking towards the clown, the dad will take a minute, right? And usually what I'll do then is I'll pay attention and I'll look up and say, "Hi, grown up. Is it okay? I know you're in a hurry. Can we have this many minutes? Yeah? Maybe this many? Okay, this many. Yeah? And then, where are you going? Oh, I know where that clinic is. Can we walk together and sing a song? Yeah, okay. All right." And that's what happens. So I've learned to pay attention. I know this isn't like any revolutionary stuff. You guys are going to get lots of really thinky, awesome advice that's going to make your careers explode. But maybe at some point, if you remember this clown who told you to pay attention to the room, it might come in handy. Yeah. Just keep it in your back pocket. Yeah. I got a lot more things to tell you and not a lot of time, so let's keep going. Here. The other thing is, my career is, how do you put it, unconventional. When I applied for graduate school at the master's program for social work at Memorial University, I'm told now that half the room didn't want to let me in. They said, what this guy's been doing, working as a clown in a hospital, isn't social work. So I wrote a letter, because it is. It just doesn't check the traditional boxes. And if I have another piece of advice for you, it's like, forget the boxes. Whatever. What's more important is who you are. What's more important is what you have to offer. What's more important is your ideas. I want to tell you about some heroes of mine, and then I'm going to give you some incredible pieces of advice, and you'll be like, well, that was worth the price of admission right there. Let's see. No. Here we go. This woman here is Karen Ridd. I wrote down her bio because it matters. I have influences, and I look to them for guidance in my career. You're here getting that as well. Karen Ridd is a mediator, facilitator, teacher, and public speaker with over 25 years of experience as a conflict resolution practitioner. In the 1980s, Karen worked as a human rights volunteer in war zones in Central America with Peace Brigades International. Her work was recognized with the 1992 Governor General's Award, the Government of Canada 125th Anniversary of Canadian Confederation Medal, the 1990 Canada YWCA Canada Peace Medal, and the 1989 Manitoba International Human Rights Achievement Award. Karen Ridd is also the first therapeutic clown in Canada. She tells a story. I've had the chance to meet her a few times. She tells a story about when she first started clowning. She joined these, clowning clubs, and she went to a telethon. And she was in Winnipeg. She said during the middle of the night, during some break time, she went out to the alley outside the theater, and she said there were some kids there, and it was heartbreaking. She said to her mind, these kids didn't belong outside by themselves in this situation, in this environment, so late at night. They were young, they were vulnerable, they were at risk. She looked at them and she thought, well, I'm going to clown with them. And something struck her. You know how I was talking about giving power away? She discovered that by being the clown with these kids who were at risk, they grew in their potential. They took her in. They took care of her. They demonstrated their strengths, their positive qualities, their potential. So then she thought, this is amazing. I need to think outside the box here. Forget about where I know clowns have been before. Where should clowns be? She said, well, where can I find some of the most vulnerable, disempowered kids possible? She said, I'm going to start clowning in a hospital. So this was the mid-'80s. She went to Winnipeg Children's Hospital, and luckily the visionaries in the child life department there said, sure. Because I've noticed that there's a formula for doing really awesome, ridiculously cool things. It's like, I'm going to try this because it matters. Hi, people in charge, can I do this? Well, I don't know. It matters. Okay. That's it. It's that simple. But she thought of something new that she thought would matter, and she started a profession in Canada, one that hadn't existed before. Another man named Michael Christensen, the exact same year, 1984, 1985, maybe 86, in New York, was in charge of the Big Apple Circus, and his brother died. Michael had a really strong relationship and bond with his brother. He was devastated. Michael tells a story about being on his knees and going, what do I do? He said he looked up, and this is the way he describes it. He says, you can call it whatever you want. Despair, a higher consciousness, whatever you want to call it. He said, I looked up and said, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll serve. What should I do? Very soon after that, the phone rang, and a New York hospital asked him to come and clown in the hospital. He started the Big Apple Circus Clown Care Unit, which has been influential, invaluable, the model for hospital clowning around the world. That was a few years back. I'm the giddy fanboy in the back with Michael and Renee right there. Last guy I want to tell you about is absolutely ridiculous. He's an internationally known speaker on wellness, laughter, and humor, as well as on healthcare and healthcare systems. He's a social activist who has devoted 30 years to changing America's healthcare system, a system which he describes as expensive and elitist. Again, coloring outside the lines, thinking outside the box. He believes that laughter, joy, and creativity are an integral part of the healing process, and therefore true healthcare must incorporate such life. Doctors and patients in his model relate to each other based on mutual care and trust. This is Patch Adams. Anybody seen the movie? I know it's like from 700 years ago now. Yeah? Yeah. Check it out. I think it's on Netflix. Yeah. Robin Williams does a brilliant job playing Patch, although I'll tell you this, it's a tame version of the real guy. I had a chance a couple years ago to meet Patch Adams. So he clowns all the time. That's who he is. He showed up at the hospital looking like that. And we spent the next 4 hours doing the most ridiculous, joyful, incredible things. You see the underwear there? He carries that with him all the time. And he brought them out. He was like, "Here are my underwear. Would you like to be in my underwear?" "I've had presidents of countries in my underwear." And so he got the kid and the grandparents in his underwear. And we marched around going like this. Underwear, underwear. Wherever you are, you're in your underwear, underwear. It was awesome. So listen. These are my role models because they're as weird as I am. And weird is awesome. Think about what you love to do. Think about your strengths. Think about what you want to see happen. As important as it is that you leave here with some idea of what you can do for you, that's really important. Keep in mind at the same time, what can you do to make an incredible, awesome, ridiculous difference in the world? Because we're all in a place of privilege right now. We're here getting college and or university pieces of paper that are marks of privilege, right? Of power. You can do so much cool stuff. Think about what you're good at, what you want to do, and don't think of it as a responsibility. When I think of responsibilities, I think of the stuff that I have to do. I have to pay my taxes, I have to brush my teeth, I have to make sure that my kids are safe, I have to change the oil in the car, and I have to let the dog outside to poop or else that thing's going to happen in the living room again. None of it makes me excited. But if I think about the idea of opportunity, I get excited. What's out there that can maybe happen? What can I do? How can I use my own unique skills, interests, color outside the lines a little bit, and make something happen? So, for this, because I know we're here to learn, I've developed a really detailed list of what needs to happen. I call it the Clown's Comprehensive Step-by-Step Guide for Creative Community Service. It goes like this. There's no risk in it, right? That's the fun, that's the joy. Show up, try something. Maybe you decide that the way you're going to serve your community is as a volunteer. Maybe you decide the way you're going to serve your community is by educating others. Maybe the way you decide you're going to serve your community is by organizing others. Maybe you get lucky and you find a job where you are able to enact change and serve in that way. But here's something that people might not tell you. How much time do I have left? I'll figure it out in a second. You need to focus on your skills, your attributes, and your interests. But there's another really powerful tool you have, and that's the things that you're really not good at. I want to tell you a couple stories that I think will, perfect, that I think could drive this home. The first one was before I ever started clowning in a hospital. Here's how things went for me. I spent 10 years out of high school before I went to university. I was a children's entertainer and a clown in communities. I was actually working in Toronto at Toronto Zoo at the time. And it was this setup where anyone who's been to Toronto Zoo, You're from Toronto? Ah, sweet. Okay, cool. So, I knew I'd be coming back here. Toronto Zoo has this area in the front, right, with like the gift shop. There's concession stands. You can get strollers for your kids. You can hop on a train, right? All that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. So you get inside where after you've paid your ticket, and there's this open area. And the whole idea is this is where a family can kind of get set to go, find the map, decide where they're going to go in the zoo. So they hired entertainers to be in this area, right? And I was one of them. I quickly figured out that I was the absolute worst person they hired. I was there with jugglers, with musicians who knew more than 3 chords on a ukulele, with magicians that had spent 15 years in their basements perfecting close-up tricks, right? And here I was with my goofy laugh and my three little tunes, and very little in the way of skill. So I thought, well, I have to do something here. It was an act of desperation, essentially. I needed the gig. So I did something revolutionary. I paid attention to the kids. Because I was faced with being the worst person they hired, I was forced to think outside the box and figure out what I could do to not be the absolute worst. And an interesting thing happened. After 3 hours in the zoo, families would come back and the parents would give me heck. They'd say, guess what? We didn't get a chance to look at the lions, the zebras, or the elephants because all the kid talked about was wanting to come back to see you. I said, I'm sorry. I said, whatever, see ya. Because what I thought I would try, and this was before the hospital ever happened, was I thought, I'm going to pay attention to you. I'm going to make sure you know that you matter, and we're going to have fun for this many minutes. That was it. I didn't come to this through some wild, epiphany about this is how I'm going to be a clown. It was absolute, desperate necessity. I had to figure out because I was the worst at that stuff. So let's fast forward a little bit. Because I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do? Making change in the world. That's so hard to think about. How am I going to make my own mark in the world? I have to change the world. Well, guess what? It ain't rocket surgery. You can do it. Something like that. That's why they don't let me in the operating suites. Small things really matter. And I know you're here to fill your heads with stuff, but remember, in the morning, I fill my head with information about what's happening in the hospital, and then I put it away. Pay attention to what's right in front of you. Your thinky brain is always going to be babbling at you. Shut it off every once in a while. Because if you do that, you start paying attention to what's going on around you. And keep it light. Keep it fun. Life is about playing. It ain't about working. It's about playing. It's about joy. And that doesn't mean that things aren't important. Things are really, 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 really important. You can still have lightness and fun and joy around important things. I'm going to tell you one more story. It was in the first year and a half that I was clowning at the hospital. It was on a Thursday in the afternoon. I was walking down the hallway, and I thought I'm going to stop at one more room before it's time to go for the night. It was down at the end of the hall. It was the room of a 14-year-old boy who had an 8-year-old brother. The 14-year-old was in palliative care. They were approaching end-of-life care for him. So I'm walking down the hall. And the 8-year-old brother comes out of the room. And he looks at me and says, "Buddy, my brother's dying." I'd been there a year and a half. I pretty much knew how to stay out of trouble. I knew how to keep my toys clean. I knew how to have some fun with the kids, how to be in the hospital environment, but nothing in my education, nothing in my experience, nothing in my grown-up thinky brain had a clue what to do with this kid who was looking up at me needing something. I didn't have a clue. So I froze. I don't mind telling you. I stood there. He came up to me and he gave me a hug. I still didn't do anything. I was on full-on panic in my head. right? It's like, what do I do? He looked up at me and he said, let's play. Okay. I said, okay. There was a room next door that had been reserved for the family. Because at this time, they like to have a place where the family can go, friends, community members can go. We went in that room, and for the next 2 hours, we played video games, we played Lego, we played trucks, we played with the ball, we played everything. We played cards, we played board games. He beat me in every single game, even though I tried as hard as I could, and after 2 hours, he said, okay, I'm done, I can go back now. It's like, okay. So we walked back, and his brother had died, and he went back to his mom. I paid my respects, and I went home. I didn't have a clue what to do that day. The only way I got through it was by shutting off the thinky brain and listening to what was needed. You're all going to reach points throughout your lives, whether it's work, personal life, whatever it is, where you're going to come up with these circumstances where you panic. Don't sweat it. Just shut off the thinky brain, pay attention, and go with it. Because you're awesome. You're going to rock it. And I've been watching and memorizing all your faces, because then I'll read about you on papers and, Eventually, Justin won't be prime minister anymore. It'll be one of you. I know, in 40 years from now, whatever that is. I think I'm pretty much out of time, guys. Yeah, I think. Is it roughly 2-ish? Yeah. 5 after. All right, cool. I think I started 5 after. I want to do something, and this is a bit of a risk, because that's the last thing I have to tell you is take risks every time, all the time. Unless it's a stupid risk, don't do that. Okay, all right. Adults are really self-conscious about singing. Yeah, I know. and then I don't know about younger adults versus old people like me. I have no idea. All I know is that I fully, truly, completely believe that we can sing a song together. Yeah, all right. I'll start. The great thing about singing a song in a great big group like this is every other person is worried about if someone's paying attention to them. And so none of them are paying attention to you. I'm just going to start. The more we get together, together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be, 'cause you're friends. The happier we'll be. Okay, beginning. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.